Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. In the last session that we had before summer, we saw an introduction to chapter 5, and now in the start of this session we will begin with that. Some of the ideas which I presented in the previous session, I will repeat and then proceed further. The question is raised by Arjuna. That is, you have been telling us knowledge is great, but at the same time you are also saying action is also great. Both of them you are saying as important to us. Action in the form of sacrifice, knowledge in the form of learning. You say that you have to go to your teacher and learn it right, etc. Yes, that is a path of knowledge. But at the same time, you are also saying that you must engage in your duty properly, etc. I am confused. What is that? What is the confusion? To do or not to do? To engage in action or not to engage in action? If I am engaging in action, the result will be there. If I am not engaging in action, then that is what you call it as sannyasa. Is that better than this? Not to engage, my desire is not destroyed. When I engage, the result will come. So what should I do? So Krishna very clearly says, to do is better than not to do. To engage in action is better than not engaging in action. As far as you are concerned, Arjuna, you have to engage in action. Why? I don't understand. How to pursue knowledge while being busy with work? Many people ask this question. Swamiji, you are teaching certain things which requires for me to sit down quietly, think about it, but I have work to do. I have my daily chores of things to do. So how am I going to practice both to gain knowledge and at the same time get going with my work? So to an answer to that, knowledge can happen only if your mind is free of likes and dislikes. You will be free of all bondages. So free of likes and dislikes cannot happen unless you find out where your likes and dislikes are. Unless you recognize what is that which is making you go towards the world, what are the things that are attracting you, and what are the things that you are so distasteful, angry, upset, unhappy about. Unless you discover the areas of likes and dislikes, you will not be able to overcome that. And to recognize the areas of likes and dislikes, you have to engage in action. So only when you engage in action and come to recognize these likes and dislikes, you will be able to overcome them. And knowledge will help you to overcome them. Now, action will help you to discover them. So therefore, path of knowledge and actions are not two different paths. They are not two diverse ways of going? He said, no, not at all. They complement each other, not contradict. So they both take you to the same goal. Stay firm in one, you will see the result of other as well. So then why do you insist to do is better than not to do. If both of them can give me the same result, then it is better to not to engage in this world than to engage. He says, to do gives you the opportunity to overcome your ego, self-conceit, strong prejudices, and many other negativities. Because many times we have dirt at home and externally we cover it up. It's like, your garage full of things that we stuff it, unwanted things, and close the garage and paint it nicely. Will it solve the problem? When you open the garage, you will see all, or even in a cupboard full of unwanted things. You just close it into and then lock it. Does not mean it is clean. In the same way, mind full of dirt in the form of passion, lust, greed, jealousy, anger, frustration, depression, dejection, disappointments, everything is there, and you just sit down, closing your eyes, and say, I am peaceful, I am happy. By merely brainwashing yourself that you are happy, you are peaceful, etc., that does not solve the problem of anger and lust and passion and greed. Because the moment you wake up and then start working in this world, or even looking at the world, all your prejudices, all your negativities, all likes and dislikes will manifest again. So it is better to roll up your sleeves and get into the world to find out where the problem is in you and recognize them and overcome them. Okay, if you say that for the sake of removing our ego, we need to get into the world and start working so that we will know how much of prejudices, likes and dislikes, strong opinions, etc. we have, and how much our ego gets hurt when we start working only, we will come to know. If I am solitude and I am away from people, I may feel very peaceful and I am happy, but that is not the real condition, because ego may be hidden, not expressing itself, but then when I come to interact with the people and situations, the ego gets hurt. All right, I understand that the relevance of knowledge in purifying the mind. Okay, but then you also have said earlier itself that knowledge is the direct path to liberation. In other words, that action cannot give you the required freedom or liberation, because after all, liberation is a state of higher awareness. Awareness that I am unconditioned, unlimited being. But then action cannot reach there. All right. But if I am busy with the only activity trying to overcome ego, etc., is it not that I need to simultaneously engage in action, in knowledge as well? Otherwise, it is only doing like anybody does. Maybe just for the sake of purifying my mind, I may probably be busy with doing things right and reducing my likes and dislikes. But should the knowledge wait till the complete purification takes place, or knowledge should be simultaneously practiced? Is it possible? Therefore, how can one practice knowledge and action simultaneously? Because one is about thinking and another is about doing. So the answer to that is, a wise person remains aware that even while seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, walking and speaking, he remains as witness with the thought, I do nothing. Sense organs are in touch with sense objects. This is important for us to understand, because knowledge is about independence of the self, which is untouched by the qualities and functions of the mind, senses, intellect, etc. This is what Vedanta basically establishes us in. The one in you, the self in you, is independent of all of them. It is actually, by the nature, it is free only. But at the present moment, I don't experience that freedom. I don't experience that unconditioned, unlimited nature. I am constantly feeling my the emotions and the thoughts and the limitations. So the uh, philosophy of Vedanta is trying to teach us that go back to your original nature of being free. And why I am not free presently? Because I take the qualities and functions of my senses and the mind as true and seriously. So, just like a scientist who is observing a phenomena, let us say a scientist who is under his microscope, he is looking at the behavior of a particular bacteria or particular organism. He is doing it objectively, knowing very well I am an observer and I am observing the behavior of the thing under my microscope, right? And so his objective observation is what is recorded as his report. In the same way, there should be an objective observer within us who is not owning up the qualities and functions of the senses. This is where you simultaneously practice knowledge and action. So the next question is that you mean he will not be mindful about what he does? Because in the case of a person who is so passionately engaged in this world, wanting to achieve maximum in this world, he is one who is fully involved. And he is taking his mind and his thoughts and his all activities seriously. Like a person, let us say, in a managerial position, he is there to receive the input from his own fellow workers and subordinates and his boss and the market, and then observations from the market. And then he is able to make decisions based upon the input that he gets. So he is mindful about what he does. How can a person remain just an observer at the same time be efficient in this world? The answer to that is by Krishna is conversely, he will be mindful that mind alone is acting through the senses and not himself. So, which basically to tell us that in a broader sense or broader observation of this wise person, that every one of us, every being is here to fulfill certain obligations. Every one of us are here to complete our karma. And therefore, every person who is acting according to his or her mind. Whatever be the quality of the mind or nature of the mind that person has, that will be that person's performance. Because if a person is unhappy starting in the morning, probably he fought with his wife or somebody, and then he come to the work. Even if he is efficient, he will not be able to do his best. Just like in the case of Arjuna also, he was a great archer. He was a person of great success and laurels won. But at the time when he was in the battlefield, when he saw his own people are standing there, with whom he has to fight, he suddenly became very emotional and he was not able to do his best. Not that he did not know what to do, but he was not available to do that because his mind was preoccupied with remorse, worry, anxiety, etc. So, you mean to say a person who is subjectively involved will be able to perform the best? That is not the case. In fact, you probably know that when you are, let us say you are a surgeon, and the person whom you are going to operate today is your own son or your own daughter, your own brother or your own dad or mom, you are not allowed to do that. Even if you are the best of the surgeon available in the world, but you are not supposed to operate somebody whom you are related to. Why it is so? It's very likely that you will lose your emotional balance when you are engaged in treating somebody whom you know, whom you are very concerned about, is very important in your life. This in the case of the judicial system also, the judge is not supposed to be judging if the criminal is related to him or her. So the efficiency of the mind is definitely increased when there is detachment. So knowledge gives that. Knowledge makes us observer, not getting absorbed in the work. as an observer, you will be able to take decisions much more carefully and more objectively than getting involved and emotionally and more passionately. Many people ask me this question: is it not passion not necessary for us to become successful in what we do? Yes and no. Yes, because you must definitely take interest in what you are doing. But no, don't get emotionally involved. If you are emotionally involved in what you do, you don't see things clearly. So this is why Krishna says here, in fact, a person who is objectively engaging in any action, he'll be more mindful and he will look at the mind as an instrument and not himself. Please note this point, very important. Mind is an instrument and not you. Sense organs are instruments you use and not you yourself. So if the mind is a little disturbed or angry, don't say I am angry, say I have a thought of anger. So, and not just saying, but having that thought very clearly in your mind, observing the thought of anger, observing the thought of jealous, observing the thought of passion, observing that thought of rage. If you start observing it, you will find it loses the momentum. If it is a negative thought or negative emotions or feeling, at once it loses its momentum the moment you detach yourself owning the thought. So this is why Krishna specifically mentions that a man of wisdom is mindful about what he does, but not getting caught into the whirlpool of thinking that me, the mind. No, that is not the way he would work. So the next question: what is the result of such a practice? What is it that it will lead to? Because anything that we are asked to or advised to do, immediately the question is, why should I do that? What will be the end result of it? So the answer to that is, such a practitioner does not get attached to the result of his action. Outcome of his action does not affect him. He would effortlessly offer all he does to the higher altar, Brahman, with no trace of ownership. When the action itself is not owned by you, how can you take up the ownership of the result of action? If you have not done, then how can you claim the result to be yours? So this is where the maturity of the wise person should be clearly seen. I happen to be in the vicinity or proximity of Puja Gurudev in many occasions where he had shown very clearly that anything that he does, he would say, it is Narayana who is doing. I am only an instrument in his hand. I am only a dasa. I am only a servant. What is being done, how it is being done, who is doing it, all of them, I don't care. It is Bhagavan who is doing through me, through you, through everyone. And the result that comes out of all this also belongs to the Bhagavan only, not to me. And this, I have seen him again and again, he expressing it. And he had undertaken so many projects. Some of them are successful, some of them are not. But he never ever sat down unhappy about unsuccessful projects, nor he became very proud or arrogant about successful things that he has accomplished. So this balance of thinking and ability to be free of the results of action is because of the knowledge that he has gained. I am not doing anything. Things are getting done in my presence. So this is very important for us to understand as we move further. So the next one is this chart that is very famous of Gurudev's BMI chart. In this chart, as you know, that the Vedanta clearly says that vasanas, or the impressions that we have gathered over many lives, are the ones which are dictating our daily experiences as of now. And these experiences that we go through are not only created by the past karmas, past actions of ours, but also how we will react to them also decided by these vasanas. It's a double effect. What you receive as situations is created by your past actions. How you perceive is decided by the nature of impressions that you have gathered. For example, let us say that I like a particular sweet dish, right? And when I am going for a party and I'm invited for some event and I go there and I see a variety of sweets are kept there and my favorite one is also sitting there. So I am invited to a program for I am, let us say, because me being Acharya or a Swamiji here, and then I'm invited to go there. So my past actions have led me to be a chief guest or a guest in that particular program. So the karma of my past have made the situation in front of me possible. All right. Now, in this situation, when I am standing there being served, and then the sweet is in front of me, which I can get and indulge in. That is, if I have the vasana for it, I will definitely do it, and my vasana will push me to do that. Now, at this point, what should be my wisdom? If I take this sweet, indulge in it, enjoy that, nothing wrong. Nobody will say no. But then I am losing myself in that. I am not. I am controlled by my vasanas. I am being ordered by what my vasana, what I should do. Now, where is the freedom then? I am being ordered. I am being forced. So when I realize that these vasanas are now acting on me to experience and indulge in these sweets, then I have to become a little careful. Should I? I may take a little, but not indulge. This decision that I take is what is called the effect of knowledge. As Gurudev would say, what you meet in life is destiny, how you meet them is your free will. This free will is what knowledge gives us. I need not be doing what my vasanas dictates me to do. See, many people in this world, in general, they don't even understand that they are victims of their own preconceived notions and past impressions. And they continues to live in the same way. And then one may say, what's wrong with that? What's the problem? When vasanas are that acting upon and asking you to indulge in these experiences, as long as the body is capable of doing that, it is okay. But body is also a vehicle. Sometimes it becomes fatigued and old and senile and inefficient and unproductive. And vasanas do not go. Vasanas are still there. At that point, when you have become so indulging in the enjoying the sweets, and let us say that you have become diabetic also, and then the doctors say you are not supposed to eat sweets, but your vasana is about sweet. And when you are in the party and these sweets are right in front of you, at that point, what will be the attitude that you will have towards them? Chalo bhai, let me eat and die. So what? Uh, who cares? Anyway, I have to die. So enjoy and die. This will be the attitude of most people. Or somebody would say, oh, I'm so unhappy. I have diabetes and I'm not supposed to have. And this sweet I like so much. But the doctor said, don't do it. I'm so unhappy and miserable. What do I do? This is other. Now, either you go and indulge and die, or you sit there and cry and complain. But a man of wisdom is one, he clearly sees, hey, it is my vasanas now acting up. My body is no more capable of doing. So what? I need not have to have it. It is not necessary for me. It is not a food. It is only an indulgence. It is only a pleasure. I don't need to have that. See, this freedom which a man of wisdom enjoys, nobody will understand. It is something so subtly it is happening. So, this is, you don't need to wait till you become old to do this. If one can start expressing this free will through the knowledge, expressing one's choices through correct knowledge, then one is capable of keeping his mind quiet at will, and such a quiet mind is most essential for going to the next stage called meditation. If one is not employing this knowledge and only indulging in what their mind and body demands according to vasanas, such an individual to go to the next stage of reclaiming the inner freedom is not possible. That's the reason why in 5th chapter itself, Krishna brings about the teachings here, so that in the 6th chapter, next chapter, is about meditation. If one has not practiced these, meditation will be just merely sitting down, no further development will take place. So the transition from mindful to mindless is a very dramatic one. One has to understand that mindfully working in this world while objectively looking at what is happening is necessary to make your mind quiet and still and fully available for the meditation. So that is why it is said yogis work only to bypass all impressions at body, senses, mind and intellectual levels. How is that they would do it? So here is a beautiful statement. You must understand and think about it. As Gurudev has put it, perception will continue, perceiver will be absent. Feelings will continue, feeler will be absent. Thinking will continue, thinker will be absent. It is not an abstract statement, it is true. Because here in one of the Upanishads, it is said, Shrotrasya Shrotram, Chakshusas Chakshuhu, Manaso Manaha, Vachoha Vacham, Pranasya Pranaha. Meaning, the self within you is the one which is making your eyes capable of seeing, but not the self is seeing. The self, the inner self, is the one which is capable of making your mind think, but it is not participating in what you think. It is that very self whose presence makes you able to enjoy the feelings, but that is not the feeler. So this observer within is a actionless presence. So in other words, the perceiver, feeler and thinker is absent. Body is there, mind will be there, intellect will be there. Externally, objects are there, emotions are there, thoughts are there. So when the body is interacting with the objects, you owning up the experience of the object is called perceiver. The mind having emotions, but you come to become a victim of those emotions, you become a feeler. Intellect having thoughts, but you, because of your thinking, feeling good or bad, that is the ownership that you are, the ego has, that's called a thinker. So when the vasanas are reduced or vasanas are not given enough avenue to express, they don't become strong, in which case the perceiver, feeler and thinker slowly will disappear from the scene. So anybody would ask, this is looking very abstract and I don't understand. How is that possible? See, it is like when a perception is done without expecting anything out of it, perceiver is not anxious and thereby no impressions of perception will remain. So also with the feelings and thinking. So when in the absence of expectation, in the absence of anything coming out of your experience, then the perceiver is not anxious. It is he takes no impressions. Let me give an example to this. Let us say that you are watching a movie and then there is a hero and then the heroine and then usual villain. This triangle continues. So the villain is obviously very rude and cunning and angry and whatnot, and he is treating the heroine very badly and persecuting her, etc. And then as usual the hero comes and then this he is able to kill that or punish that villain, and that's done. Now when the movie is over, the switch light, they put the lights on, and you will find on your right side the hero of the movie is sitting, on your left side is the villain of the movie is sitting, let us say. Now both of them are also enjoying the movie. Now you see, they were also enjoying the movie, a movie as much as you are enjoying. And for you, the person who is there as a villain is real, and the person who is there as a hero is also real. And you got involved so much, and when the hero got angry about the villain, you also got upset. When the hero started punishing the villain, you felt so good and all those. The person who is next to you, the villain, he's also watching, and he only is appreciating his own actorship, or his own ability to act as a villain and creating so much of anger in the hero. And so he's enjoying and not getting persecuted. Why? Because he's only an observer of what is being done by him. What is done on the screen, he did it. But now he is an observer of his own his own performance, sorry. How well I did. So, wow. See how much I made the audience angry and upset by my performance. I'm so happy. Now, the thing is, in this example, the villain is no more a villain, though for rest of the world he's a villain. The hero is no more a hero for himself, but for rest of the world he's a hero. See, this is the same way. You, the person of wisdom, will start enjoying every thought and every emotion, every feeling without owning it up. This is the freedom the man of wisdom gains. He looks at the whole thing with such a detached, impersonal manner, so to say, and while others, for them, it is so real, it is so true, but not for him. And this is the maturity that man of wisdom gains. So here in Bhagavad-Gita, the example of a person of wisdom who is in the world but not of the world is given in the form of a water drop on a lotus leaf. If you have seen a lotus which is floating on the tank of water or a pond, it has a leaf around it. And in the leaf, if you put a drop of water, that water drop will not stay there. It will dance because there is a certain oil substance that is coated on the top of the leaf. The water would not become part of the leaf, meaning it will never sink into the leaf. It will just stay there. In this is the beautiful example Lord Krishna brings in, saying that a yogi who is working this world, he remains only as a witness at all times, never owning up any activity of the senses, mind and intellect, like the water drop on a lotus leaf, never attached to the leaf. So the leaf as such is not getting wet at all, even though it is sitting in the water. That is the condition of a yogi who is in this world, while all various transactions he will be part of. He will be engaging in this world like anybody else, but in his mind he is always aloof. He is able to overcome and stay above. It's called Ud-asina in Sanskrit. Ud-asina means rising above at all times. So he will participate in the daily events and experiences and activities of things and beings with the things and beings. Sorry, but he would not get drowned. He will not get upset and get carried away by the situations around him. So somebody would say, is it not going to be a very boring life? All excitements gone. If you look at then, some party is going on, some music concert is going on, some game is going on. The joy of that is to go there and jump and laugh and cry and whatnot. That is the life. When you go to a game, for example, football game or basketball, obviously when you're sitting there watching the game, you need to take one side or the other, meaning you belong to one particular team or other team. Then only there is excitement. Because when your team, which you support, is scoring well, and you stand on the stands and jump and laugh and cheer everybody, and the persons who belong to or supporting the opposite team obviously feel so depressed and dejected and unhappy, complaining, feeling bad, etc. So the whole scene is only when you take sides there is excitement. But a man of wisdom is one, by nature, because of his knowledge, he would not take sides.
In fact, he enjoys the most. You know why? Because everybody is a winner for him. If you don't take sides, the winner is also you can enjoy the winner also. And whichever be the team that wins, that's okay for you. But then somebody would say it's such a boring thing. Indeed, it will be the opposite for a man of wisdom. When mind remains aloof and unattached, you enjoy everything thoroughly. Just like when you are watching a movie, you are just a witness to what is going on the screen. At the end of the show, you carry no burden of what you saw. It's all over. It's just a thing that is projected on the screen. It has no reality. But while you are at this program or while watching the movie, you are enjoying. Nobody can stop it. But the point is, you don't carry the impressions too long because you know by your own wisdom it is not true. As I said in the previous example, you look at the villain on the one side and the hero on the other side, they are also equally enjoying it because they know it's just a show. And as they come out, the villain and the hero, they'll be shaking hands and probably putting their hands on each other's shoulder and walk away. Because only on the movie it is they are the villain and hero, but in real life they are friends. In the same way, the ability to enjoy a thing will not be deprived of for a wise person as well. He will enjoy, but carrying that impressions that oh this is bad, this is not right, this is it should not have happened, that is something negative. This kind of carrying the burden in your mind or the heart and brooding over it, unhappy about it, is not there. Or if you have enjoyed a situation which gave you so much of excitement, once that is over, oh, it's all over. Oh, oh. It is like, going to a cruise and enjoying for the whole week. And then the last day when you are ready to leave and come back to home, it's such a depression. Again, I have to go back to the same routine of life. And then am I going to have my next vacation? I'm so unhappy, even though I enjoyed and excited during the whole week of cruise, but when I come back again, the same thing I have to do. So that unhappiness, because why? You over enjoyed. You are carrying the impressions of the excitements of the cruise, and now you have to go back to the routine. So this kind of neither excitement nor the disappointments, if you are able to not carry because of the understanding that both are only temporary, is the nature of wisdom. So Krishna says yogis engage in action only to purify the mind. Their intention in engaging in action is to check their ego and find out how much the ego is causing the trouble. So from the above example, you must remember one thing. Often pause and become aware that you are just a witness and not a participant. This is the practice which Krishna asks us to do on a daily basis. Keep observing yourself. Don't get absorbed in what you do. So let the observation continue. Let you detachedly watch what the mind and the senses are doing. And interestingly, what you will see is that just like you, the witness is observing your mind and senses, everyone in this world are capable of doing the same thing. But unfortunately, when they get carried away by the qualities of the mind and senses, they are not able to, find happiness while working. Their mind is still impure. It is not for us to judge, but to observe how people are so victimized by their own mind and senses and situations. Continuing, so the same idea is extended further that a yogi, thus slowly maturing himself to become a detached individual, enjoying his own presence in this physical body, in whose presence everything is going on, he is actually living in great bliss. Navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan, he says. So this mindless state, where the mind is no more a trouble to you, what is it like? How is that a yogi will enjoy such a state? It is blissful where one remains fully content with oneself, witnessing all activities in the city of 9 gates. What is this 9 gates? Where is the city of 9 gates? Yes, your body. Your body is called the city of 9 gates. 9? What are the 9? So if you see here, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, mouth, anus, and reproductive organ. These are considered as the 9 gates of the body. Why they are called 9 gates? Because these are the gates through which you come to interact with the world. As you know, here the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, these are all the 5 organs of perception, and hands, speech, hands, legs, and anus and reproductive organ, these are considered as the organs of action. But Bhagavad-Gita says that there are 9 gates through which you come to interact with the world. And these 9 different apertures, so to say, are those which are constantly bringing in information from the external world. And when we get carried away by the experiences that they are bringing in, then we are extrovert. We just get out. So I call it as like windows. When you are sitting in a room and there are windows through which you can see the world, or through the windows you get the sunlight and the air, etc. In the same way, what we have is called 9 mindos. The mindos are those through which the mind gets out into the world, or from which the mind gets information from. So these windows of the body, they are called 9 doors of the body, are those which are getting us involved in this world of experiences. While a yogi is also having the same kind of 9 gates that we have, but he lives in total joy because he has nothing to further experience from the world to make him more happy, nor his happiness will ever be sullied or disturbed by his interactions in this world. So why are they called gates? First of all, because through these we interact with the outside world and receive impressions and express our impressions. When they are controlled, the self, your own being, remains in its natural state of bliss. So this can be very well explained when you are, let us say, in the deep sleep state, in your complete withdrawal from the world. You still have your ears open, your nostrils open, your mouth open sometimes, and so all except the eyes, probably, which you keep it closed when you are sleeping, all others are available for the world, but the world doesn't get in. The world is, you are not interacting with the world through them. Why? Because you are with yourself. You are abiding with yourself. This abiding in yourself without any disturbance from outside is where you get the bliss of sleep. Just like in the state of sleep where no disturbances are from the world, but still you are happy, which only shows your nature is happiness. If your happiness is depending upon what happens in this world, then obviously you are interacting in the world, but in sleep you are not. In the same way, a yogi withdraws himself from all the sense organs and discovers that I am really of the nature of Anand, bliss. With no input from the world, no engagement in this world, I'm still happy. Just like a person who experiences that in sleep, with no consciousness involved, unconsciously is experiencing the bliss, all of us. But in the case of a yogi, in the seat of meditation, he consciously travels towards that center of himself while withdrawing himself from the senses interacting in the world. This conscious withdrawal and enjoying the bliss consciously is the practice of meditation. So this presence within is an actionless presence, which is not interacting with anything. Is it not this blissful state an unproductive existence? Somebody may say, when I am busy with the world doing many things, I feel myself very productive, very useful. I feel accomplished. But when a person who is finding himself blissful within, is he not, after withdrawing from the senses, not available for the world, not doing anything to the world? Is he not unproductive? This is an hasty conclusion. Happiness is never assured in being just productive. Many people will have the very wrong conclusion that when I am busy, I'm productive. When I am doing so many things, that I'm productive. But being productive does not assure you any happiness. Some people are very busy but miserable, right? So being productive, being active, being busy does not by itself assure you any happiness. Because all our actions are for gaining more and more happiness, he reached the very fountain of bliss, and hence all actions end in him. His wisdom is complete. See, if you are able to get that joy which you are demanding from the world without doing it, then the doing is out of choice only. It is not out of necessity or requirement. So it is often said that if you engage in the world and still being miserable, and if you are able to gain the greater joy by being an observer and minimizing your desire, which one do you prefer? If your objective is happiness, you will be able to gain that within yourself. Then action will become only a choice you make. It is not a compulsion. So the Lord who is present within neither does anything nor influences you to do anything. He is never attached to result of any action, like what we have seen in the lotus leaf. So in his presence, all faculties function as though activated by him. The best example that is given is by Gurudev is electricity. Electricity is a static energy, but when sent through any equipment, such as an electric bulb or a fan, it becomes dynamic. So also the self or the Lord within. Lord within is a static energy which has potentially capable of doing many things, but it is in its own joyful state. But when it is expressing through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, etc., just like the static energy becomes dynamic when it is interacting with the world outside, so also the self within is joyful in its own being, but interacts with the world through the senses. But the problem is when it interacts with the world, apparently it loses its nature of bliss. So, in that case, then how does a person of wisdom look at himself? How does he behave as an individual? Will he not be very peculiar and weird as far as others are concerned? No, it is not. Like the way you look at your own shadow. Are you worried about where it falls? Does it not just follow wherever you go? In the same way, he would look at the worldly interactions as just like the shadow following you. Not that you go where the body goes, you go, the body will follow. So presently, the mind is dictating what to do, what not to do. But the case of a wise person, he is able to make his mind engage in those things which he understands as important. And when he recognizes some activities or some interactions which are unproductive, is only going to cause more anger or more kind of anxiety, etc. He will consciously withdraw from them and without any kind of regret. I don't need it. I don't need to engage in that. My choice is not to engage. And thus he enjoys a greater freedom at all times. And this is Krishna's message to us. Detached, you become witness and an observer of yourself. Objectively look at the world. Do not get influenced by the functions and the qualities of the mind and senses. While thus doing so, you won't become unproductive. In fact, having found your own blissful, joyful state in your mind, you will be able to engage in the world with joyfully, choicefully, cheerfully, and not dragging yourself from situation to situation. This is the message. Okay, so we'll meet later. Thank you for listening. We'll continue with more verses from chapter 5 in the next presentation. Until then, Hari Om. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ